Joining us today is Robin Birchall, the CEO of Oscillate PLC. Robin, good to be speaking. How are things?
Yeah, Mark, very, very good. Thank you. Obviously had some pretty exciting news this morning, so it was a pleasure to speak to you.
Indeed, yeah. You've agreed those revised terms for the acquisition of the, or with Kalahari Copper Ltd, entered that new heads of terms agreement to incorporate or acquire the entire issued share capital. So this gives you now, as you say, a pathway to obtain 100% ownership of the Namibian copper project with 4 licenses. So before we get into that, I wonder if you can perhaps just refresh us on what Oscillate is all about, because it's had a bit of a change recently, hasn't it, in this direction?
Yeah, so Mark, as you know, we had a thesis, and I had a thesis about copper over the past few years, and I was very lucky to be asked to take over at Oscillate, and one of the proposals I made was to convert the company to acquire a number of copper licenses to become a mid-tier developer, and we have done that over the last 6 months or so. And I think we're now at the cusp of the next phase, which is really getting into doing quite a bit of work on this set of licenses that we're in the process of acquiring. But the idea really was that copper or gold, as we've seen, performs well through an inflationary cycle. Copper can perform well as well through an inflationary cycle. It does depend more on the underlying economy and business, but those conditions seem reasonably good. I've been talking to a few analysts about where they think copper is going. We've had some news as of yesterday, which has caused the price of copper to rise significantly over the last 24 hours. In the middle term, they see that there is going to be a small amount of oversupply, but then there's going to be a significant shortage of copper because there hasn't been the large producers haven't put more into production, and you can see that in the small and mid cap equities in copper. They've had a pretty good run in the last 6 months or so, and that's kind of what I was forecasting. And we want to be in the process of building a resource base over the next 12 to 18 months, just like we did previously in gold.
So it's all about copper then now, is it? Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I mean, Look, obviously, copper goes with silver and gold quite often, so we don't absolutely rule those out. Particularly as we know in the Kalahari Copper Belt, there's quite a lot of silver credit, and you can also see in the Namibian extension of the Central African Copper Belt, there's quite a lot of silver credit as well. So yes, we're primarily a copper company, but there will be credit from other precious metals.
Good. I wonder if we can just look at this graphic that was in the RNS there, because it does help, I think, to set the scene. So I think investors probably would be more familiar with the Kalahari Copper Belt there at the bottom. But your area here is above, isn't it, in the blue? So just wonder if you can perhaps just set the scene for us and why this area is as prolific as the Kalahari Copper Belt.
Well, what it is so the Kalahari Copper Belt is a not newer in geological terms, but it newer in terms of discoveries that have been made. A less well-known basin with sedimentary hosted deposits. The Cocoa Basin, the Cocofeld Basin, again, in the central part of the belt, it has had a number of discoveries, and there's some producing mines. But the understanding, a bit like Kamoa-Konkola and other things, the Central African Copper Belt, it wasn't understood, it wasn't explored enough to understand that continues across through into Namibia, and this is considered through the Craton an extension of those Central African Copper Belt, which obviously the Copper Belt in Zambia and in southern DRC is extremely important, and this is discovered and explored later on, and for certain it runs up into Angola, and Angola has not had a great amount of exploration done, and the state didn't do a lot under the Portuguese. That's why we're very excited with Namibia, because obviously in the Central African Copper Belt is one of the great copper producers and has been for many years. And then the nature of the assets we picked up is that they're further advanced than the than the licenses that we have in Botswana. Some of the licenses in Botswana have discovery on them, but not really enough drill holes to hang a resource around. Whereas in the Cockerveld, there's a 43-101 on one of the licenses already. We would expect to do. We'd be in the next phase, which is the drilling out of the resource to prove that up to be economic to run into a PEA and then obviously into DFS. And as you know, that's what we've been pretty good at in the past is these kind of later stage exploration assets that you can run through the development phase and get to up to the point of starting to build a mine.
So you've said in this RNS here that these revised terms outline a deal which is a potential game changer for Oscillate. So that's pretty strong words there, but you're obviously feeling pretty confident with what you've managed to secure up here.
Well, look, I mean, yeah, with the grades that have been and the number of holes that have been drilled there, it's much more extensive than in Botswana. And Botswana, most of the part of the reason why it was discovered a little bit later, it's significantly undercover. There's a lot of sand in this yellow area, whereas up in the Cockerveld, it's all at surface. It's a completely different part of the desert. The discovery process can be more straightforward. You're not relying on geophysics to shoot through meters and meters of sand. You do your surface mapping and then you decide where to drill. But more importantly than that is that the grades that you're seeing there are in the 1% to 2% kind of level, whereas in Botswana they're mostly around about 1%. You can get a bit higher. But if you look at MMG and Samphire, they're mostly around about 1% with a bit of silver credit.
So this pathway that you talk about, then, this pathway to take 100%, what does that look like?
Oh, well, I mean, it's just an SPA and then the terms of the agreement. So these are heads, and we will go into the immediately. Well, we're part of the way into the SPA, but through the additional negotiations we had and the fact that Kalahari Copper's team were very impressed with my operating team and the work that we did as part of the diligence process. Their view was, let's put it all together. It's going to be a much better package together in a listed company with a better access to capital. This is going to advance faster. So yeah, I mean, that was the process.
Okay. And what are the next steps looking like then? Timelines for getting active and going down that PEA route, as you mentioned.
Yeah. Well, look. So we have we've got the budget approved by both us and KCL for Namibia. For Botswana. I will be going to Namibia in the near future. Obviously, doing the same thing we did in Botswana, meeting the ministry officials and the department officials and the Department of Mines, etc. Meeting some of our local partners there. I'm getting to site, and then my technical team. So they've done their initial on-site diligence, and then the follow-up from that over the next couple of weeks will be building out the technical program, the operational program for, as we did for the other one, immediate, say 3 to 6 months, and then 6 to 12 months, and then out to 24 months on these licenses. So we will be working that up for Namibia. We're not there yet on it, like we are in Botswana. As you've seen from Ivory Coast, we finished the first one. I don't want to completely switch that, but we're now into the next phase. We're working on the budget for that program, and we'll implement that program hopefully in the next few weeks here. Okay. Each one of them is on a conveyor belt, if you want to call it that. So Ivory Coast will happen sooner. Botswana will then happen after that. It has to be done this year before December anyway, for a number of reasons. And then Namibia will follow. And this is all obviously a function of the capital that's available to us.
So basically, go on.
Oh, sorry. Hence the AIM flotation process that's going on in the background.
Right. Okay. Well, we're going to finish on that. What's to come? I mean, the next quarter, then it seems like you're going to be active at least on 2 of the projects. So the Côte d'Ivoire and, of course, Botswana. Maybe Namibia slips into early next year. But you're going to be pretty busy in this last quarter. And the AIM listing as well is a pivotal part of that.
Yeah, I don't think that maybe it will slip, but I need a couple of weeks here to get a budget together and work out what we want to do and how soon, because it's a priority, because it's more further advanced and quite a bit more work has been done there. So we need to work out what we need to do when we need to do it. And also, it's not affected. Well, neither Namibia or Botswana are particularly affected by a wet season. So you don't need to plan your drilling around a wet season, which is quite nice. It does rain up in the north there, so there will be maybe a few weeks when we'd have to just be careful. And also, you do get a bit of rain in and around the Christmas time in Botswana, but it's not significant. Like in Ivory Coast, you have 3 or 4 months when you can't drill. It's just too wet. So yeah, I mean, we'll be advancing each one of those. We'll be prioritizing them, but I don't know what the priority in Namibia is yet until we've done a bit more work.
Okay. And the AIM listing, what's the rationale behind that? To increase liquidity, access to capital? What's the thinking?
Yes. Exactly what you said.
Exactly that. Okay, fine. Yeah.
Okay. Those things.
Good. Okay. Well, there's a lot happening in this last quarter. It's good from an exploration company to see activities on the ground, and hopefully an increase in the liquidity of the stock as well. So thanks very much. So I hope we can catch up soonish as you finalise those plans, and we can see what it's going to look like on the ground.
Yeah. Well, Mark, I was thinking I'll try and do something for you. Either I'm going to be in Ivory Coast next week. So we'll be trying to collect some, collateral for the market, some pictures and videos and things like that. So I was thinking either we could do an interview while I'm there or after I come back.
On site, if it works, would be very, very good, Robin.
Yeah. Excellent. Superb. Thank you very much.
Well, thanks very much for your time.
Cheers.
If you enjoyed this interview, then give us a thumbs up, a like or a retweet. Subscribe to us on YouTube or follow us on Twitter and hit that notification bell to be the first to know when we release new content. There's loads of great content on our website too, across all our programs at StockBoxMedia.com. Thank you for watching.